Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Hope your morning's been going well so far. My name is Dr. KayLa Allen. I practice as a life coach for women in spaces of transformation, diversity, and really just trying to create better futures for themselves. And I also work with healthcare leadership and development and consulting. So this morning, we're talking about something very important. It's the ability to see someone for who they truly are while also doing that for ourselves. Now, that's very multifaceted, but it's important. When you ask yourself this simple question, what is the answer? You wake up in the morning, you look at the mirror, you ask yourself, who am I? What does that really mean? Can you truly see yourself? Sure, you may see, you look beautiful, you have on something that you chose and you can't wait to wear it. You feel amazing, your hair's looking good today. But who are you inside? That's the real question. See, any day you can look in the mirror and say something special to yourself, but can you see beyond what's right in front of you? And that's a question that children go through just as well. Everyone does. Everyone at every age, we are asking ourselves, who am I? Who am I supposed to be? How can I carry myself through this life and feel that I've done something that is meaningful while being true to myself? So let's get into that. When you are faced with your truest self, what is your identity? Identity is a huge word, and it can mean so many different things. People may think about things like culture. You may think about religion, language, food. There's so many things that can make you who you are. But do we really understand what that means at the core? Are we truly self-aware enough to know what that means? Seeing, understanding, and accepting your truth with full clarity. Not just a part of you. Not just some piece that other people say is, okay, we like that part of you, bring that out. We like when you come to the meeting, you have lots of things to say, don't be quiet. Understand what that means. When you go into a space, when you're talking to children, how are you showing up? Are you telling them that it's okay to be themselves? Maybe you are in some ways. Maybe some ways you've become blinded to. Maybe there's bias. We all have some type of bias there. But we have to know what it means to have true clarity about ourselves before we can do that for someone else. You have to ask yourself over and over again, am I showing up as who I know myself to be? And don't be scared of the answer, because sometimes it won't be so pretty. Showing different faces or finding discomfort in various situations. Many of us do this. Many of us do it. I mean, we do it at home versus work. When you're at home, you're comfortable. The personality that you know is regular and normal to you, it's big, it's there, it's who you are. When you step out of that place, maybe you go into a meeting, maybe you're going to have drinks with a friend. That's a different person in some sense. But at the end of the day, there are still small parts of who you are that are there all the time. You ask yourself, why am I this way with my friends versus the way that I am at work? And that's a fair question. At some point in time, you have to allow the true person that is living inside of you to be present everywhere. That doesn't mean show up to work, ready to have a party. No. That means allow that fun person to be there. Allow her light to come out. Because when you can do that, you're stepping into a different space of awareness. You're stepping into a different space where you can also be empathetic toward other people because you know that they're multifaceted as well. Breaking down who you are at your core, self-awareness and positive intelligence. If you had to think about many parts of you and you had to list them A to Z, what would that look like? It'd be a big mess, I'm pretty sure. It'd be lots of things. I'm this, I'm happy, but sometimes I'm sad, but sometimes I like to be in the kitchen, sometimes I don't feel like cooking. I'm all of these things, all of these people. And that's how we should look at children too. They have moments. Everyone does. Everyone has a part of themselves that moves about a little differently, that stands up in a different way in every space we go into, and that's perfectly fair. So when you think about the work that you do, when you stand in the room as a parent, ask yourself those questions. Are you being true to yourself? Are you allowing all of you to be there? When you can do that for yourself, it makes it a little bit easier to do that for someone too. A mirror of efforts. Reflections are something that we come across on a regular basis, and I'm not just talking about a physical mirror. When you can turn around and say, this happened because of this, that's a reflection. When you can ask yourself why something happened in a certain way and be okay with it, you're giving yourself a true reflection of your circumstances. So when you are exploring life, when you are journeying through something that may be difficult, ask yourself, am I able to reflect in this moment? Can I give myself that space to understand what's really going on? Every day, we find ourselves faced with challenges, things that are beyond our normal awareness, and that's totally normal. We are human. The ability to move past that is where the strength comes from. Yes, that happened. Yes, something was so difficult, and I never had to face anything like this, nor did I want to. Can I accept that moment as it is? Can I say that I know this happened? It is a part of this moment, because that's what life is, full of nothing but moments. Everything's happening. Moment, it's gone. Can I accept that as a moment and gather something from it that is valuable, that wisdom? That's elements of positive intelligence. You're giving yourself that bit of awareness, and it's perfectly fair. Self-awareness. Over and over again, you have to ask yourself, do I really know who I am? Do I know how I'm showing up? Do I comprehend how I'm showing up for other people? Not just myself, because we can all walk into a room and be who we are, and it's totally fine. But are we able to give back what it is that the other person is needing from us? Sometimes a child may need someone who's just going to listen. We all do. We all need an ear sometimes. We all need a shoulder sometimes. Can we be that while we're also facing our stuff, whatever it is that we're dealing with in life? That's the big question. You have to be able to maneuver around life a little differently from time to time so you can ensure that you're doing what you need to do for other people. It all comes back to you. It is a circle, a regenerating circle of communication, and it's so valuable. So when we're talking about identity, this is something that I want you to do. Hopefully all of you have paper. If you don't, you can use your phones. I want us to be extremely honest with ourselves. You're not painting a picture for someone else. I don't expect you to be perfect, but I want you to list 3 truths and 1 misconception about your identity. Remember that only you know who you truly are at your core. Three truths and 1 misconception. Be gentle with yourselves. So when you get comfortable, everybody's doing just a little moment of time, writing down 3 truths about themselves and 1 misconception. Give you a couple more seconds, and then I'd like to hear some of your answers. It's so interesting to see some of your faces when you're writing. You're really questioning, you're thinking hard, but it's appreciated. We have to have that moment of reflection to know really, really who we are and be okay with that. Okay. So I think just about everybody's finished. Would anyone like to volunteer and share what they wrote down? Okay.
I speak pretty loud.
You're fine.
Okay. I'm Mexican, I'm a woman, I'm a mom, and I'm a sister. Oh. Can you just repeat it for me?
You can say it again.
Okay. I'm Mexican, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, and I'm a woman.
And what's the misconception about you?
I'm Mexican, because I'm not.
Okay, that's fair. People can be quick to judge. You may look at someone and think there's something, and they may be totally the opposite. Anyone else like to share? Of course. Both of you.
Empathetic, loving, broken, and naive.
Okay. She says she goes to a lot of therapy. That's okay. We all need it sometimes. So what's the misconception?
Naive.
That you're naive. Okay. That's okay. That's it intuitive. You're thinking. She said she is not naive. Some people just think that she is. She's just quiet.
I enjoy working with families. I'm a team player. I have ideals but lack follow through, and I'm difficult intentionally.
Okay. So which one is the misconception?
That I enjoy working with families. It's exhausting.
Well, keep the truth open. Why don't we? Anyone else? We won't bite hard. We promise. Anyone? The reason that I wanted to ask you guys that question is because the world can paint a picture of you and it'd be totally different from who you really are. See, I can walk up to you and tell you, hey, this is who I am. This is who I'm allowing myself to show you. But is that everything? If a child were to walk up to you right now and say, this is how I'm feeling today, maybe they're telling you, oh, I'm so happy. I just got an A on my test, and I'm excited about what's to come because I know my teacher is going to reward me. But you remember just yesterday, they came in crying. Is that everything that they are? Or is that just a moment? Now, it's not to say that you have to know absolutely everything at every moment in time, but it is to say that we are all very, very different from sometimes the things that we paint ourselves to be. So keep that in mind. Understand how children first gather this type of information about themselves. Now, we all have been through school, and we know how tough kids can be. Some of those littles like to say whatever it is that comes to their mind. However, think about when you were in school, any grade. What were you exposed to? What did you see? What other students were around you that had a totally different life or lifestyle from you? And what did that teach you? Everything that we see, everything that comes to us in some form or another is shaping who we are in some way or another. So take that into consideration. Sometimes the things that are happening around us do influence us, and it's not always for the better. But if we remain true to who we are, accepting that this is just a moment, it is just a lesson, it is just something that is happening around us, we'll be better off. Now, that's part of your jobs, to help children to understand that, because they may not know that. They may just see, oh, little Johnny is over there, and I just saw him get in a fight, and I'm upset too, so maybe it's okay. Some people don't have the same understanding, and that's normal. But what you do with that makes all the difference. How does identity play out in the world, and are you okay with that? Big question. You can look at the news. You can look at your friend groups and see how identity is playing a role. It's showing who we are, of course, at some level or another. It's showing a lot of differences, but it's also teaching us how to look at things a little differently. Identity is not just a piece of who we are. Yes, of course, you can say, this part of my identity is key to me, and I value this thing because of ... That's fine. But it is also wrapped into so much of what you do. It is so much of what you embody. So you can look at what I have on right now as an example. This is something that was made by a Nigerian woman. I was very glad to get it from her. My ancestry is African American and Mexican. That's a part of my life. Everything I do, from the food I eat, the languages I speak, the music I listen to, it is a part of everything. So what does that mean? It also gets dispersed into everything that's around me. People learn values about who you are, and they develop respect based on the things that you show them. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And why? That's the part of your identity that you have to hold on to, because people are going to look at it, they're going to judge it in ways that they see fit. So keep that in mind. What can you do to bridge gaps in understanding of identity and in the act of maintaining this massive truth? Sometimes this means that we have to get very serious with ourselves and know that things people say are not always the truth. Sounds pretty simple. But what about if you're upset? What about if something's not going your way? Think about yourself and then think about a child in this question. What is it that you can do in a moment when things are not going your way? Do you get upset? Do you put out some form of backlash? Do you tap into who you know you are? Yes, it's fair to have emotions. Everyone has feelings. We all have things that we explore in life, but do we allow that to consume us? That's the big thing. You have to be able to tap back into yourself and say, yes, I'm upset, but I'm not going to allow this moment to take over everything in my day. I'm not, because it's not who I am. The happiness that's inside of me is who I know myself to be, and I'm going to grab onto that. I'm going to bend it at my will in a good way so that I can get the outcomes that I know would be better for me. Childhood experiences and self-doubt, bullying, manipulation, false judgments, this happens all the time. Even if it's not talked about, it is there. And it is almost like a ripple effect of sorts. It taps into something and it moves along. A domino effect. It hits one part and it's knocking other things down. Outside things are constantly happening. These outside voices, outside noises, outside judgments. But going back into self and saying, I don't like this. I'm unhappy. Let me find someone that I can go and talk to, because this is not okay. This is not a part of my life. And again, this is not just child thinking. These are things that happen to adults as well. We have to judge and understand what is going on around us so that we can tap into our truth, become something greater, and evolve into the next version. Challenging norms. There are so many norms that happen, that exist, that are always going to be present in most of what we do. But how do we push past that? We can accept what they are. We can process through a moment and say, this is really difficult. I understand it conceptually. I don't necessarily agree with it. So what can I do? And you start kind of going through yourself, asking, okay, what part of something that I learned in the past can I apply to this situation right now? That is huge. Sure, you may have gone through a challenging situation before that was similar. Maybe you don't have all the answers. No one does. But you ask yourself again and again, what can I do now? If I go walk outside right now and a car almost hits me, my awareness is shaken. I'm panicking. What can I do right then and there? I can back up. I can breathe. I can say, yes, that did just happen, and I'm still a little terrified, but I'm not going to allow that to take over me. It's just a moment. It happened. And yes, that was extremely dramatic. I was just saying something to make you think and see a visual. But it's the same thing for anything in life. You have the choice to say, man, this huge thing just happened to me, but I'm going to tap into something that I already know so that I can get through this. That's wisdom. It's recycling that wisdom, and you can do that with the children you interact with. There are things that are inside of you, natural to you, things that you have gained through your education, through your experiences. You can pull from all of them at any given time to make a difference. It works. You just have to be patient with yourself and be okay with knowing that you may not have it right. Okay? Diversity and truths. Everyone in this room is different. Everyone. I don't care if you have the same hair color, if your skin is the same complexion, if you are the same age. Everyone is different. If I told you right now to switch seats with a person that is sitting next to you, no, I'm not going to do that. We have too many things, move around. But if I asked you to do that and I told you that you needed to walk in that person's shoes and become them, could you do it? No. There is no way. You may understand some of the things they face. Maybe they told you they're your best friend. You've seen things that have happened, but you cannot get into their shoes and become them. You can't. We're all so very different. The ways that we think, the ways that we understand, it's all very different. It can come from things like environment, from parenting, from any kind of social experiences that we have. That's what makes us different. Diversity works like that. We all come to the table with this culmination of things that's so valuable. It's our core identity. It's how we make a difference. It's how we walk in purpose and follow passions. But understand, when you're in the room, it's not just you that's different. It's everyone else too. So sure, you understand that you're different in a moment. Maybe you're not feeling the best. You have a cold, but you still have to go to your meeting. What about the other people in the room? They may be having similar experiences. Are you to judge? Or are you to reflect back on yourself and say, you know, I understand. I'm not feeling the best either. So what can we do right now to be the best we can be right now and work with that? Diversity is an experience. It is a part of life. It is a part of everything you do, whether you understand that now or not. It is in everything. It's in the way we lead. It's in the way we talk. It's in the way that we respect our parents. It's everywhere. So you have to work with that and understand that it is so valuable and it is to be lifted up, because our things that make us so unique are the things that lift us up. They propel us forward to do greater things. Compassion and freedom of expression. Freedom of expression is so difficult. I'll go back to what I'm wearing just so you can look at me and understand why I'm saying this. This is freedom of expression. If you saw me walk into the grocery store like this, you might think I was a little crazy. You may be wondering where I came from. You may be trying to think, maybe she has an event. Maybe there's something going on, because that's not normal. This is my freedom of expression. I chose to do this, and I continue to do it because it's a part of me. It's a part of what I teach. It's a part of what I understand in my life. It is my freedom. I can do it in any way that I want to, and I'm okay with that. It's not to be judged. It's for me to value, because when I do this, my head does this, because I know who I am, and I'm so proud of me. That's how you should be. That's how you should understand children need to be that way too. They have so many feelings and so many experiences, but how do we tell them it's okay? How do we help them to step into that light and say, you know what? I felt like wearing my colorful socks today, and I like it. Let them do that. It's identity, it's truth, it is beautiful. When you can do that, you feel so much better. It's like having a bad hair day versus having the fanciest updo. Two totally different things. But you understand that there is a value in the things that you create. There's a value in what you show yourself to be and know yourself to be. It's all connected. Communications. These difficult conversations about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and acceptance of individuality. Who has ever sat across someone that maybe you just met and they look completely different from you? Everybody. Everybody. You can have conversations that can be totally uncomfortable, things that make you more aware, things that can teach you more about life around you. These difficult conversations are of high value. Even if we're thinking about going into, let's say you just started working at a new school. You're having a meeting early in the morning. You don't know anyone. Maybe you know the assistant principal, you've met a couple of teachers, but that's it. How do you go to that table and say, this is who I am. Hello, everyone. This is the work that I do. This is my experience. You can give people levels of who you are, quite topical, saying this is what I do. This is my education. What's beneath that? The iceberg idea. There's so much more beneath those layers. Those conversations about truth, the conversations about who you really are, that's hard. It almost feels like it's not natural. Like we shouldn't have to explain who we are. But at some level, some way or another, people learn to understand you more when you can be truthful about yourself with yourself. If you think about some of the things that we face as a nation in the last, 5-10 years, there have been so many conversations about diversity, so many conversations about being true to who we are and trying to connect with one another and finding these spaces of kindness and compassion. How can we do that if we're not doing that for ourselves? Doing things outward is easy. Like they say, oh yeah, you're preaching to the choir. Yeah, okay. But as the music instructor, are you receiving that same information? Are you doing that same thing for yourself? The odds are probably very slim. But these conversations on truth, these conversations on who we are, help us to understand better. They help us to become better. They help us to evolve in the way that we do everything in life. So I encourage you to be open about having those types of conversations. I know when a lot of the protests and things were going on a couple of years ago. I had a couple of my friends who happened to be Caucasian women. They asked me questions about, what's going on with you? Are you understanding what's happening? Are you going to these protests? Trying to put me in a little bubble. Like, let me wrap you up in this bubble wrap so nothing can happen to you. I'm like, I appreciate that, but let me help you understand a little bit more. This is not new to me. I've seen this so many times. Our ancestors have seen it. All of you have different experiences of things that have happened to you. And so I took that moment to educate. I didn't want pity. That's not helpful. It didn't change anything. So I took that moment to pivot and say, this is something that's happening right now. I'm glad you're seeing it in one way because it helps you to be real and understand that you can't wrap me in bubble wrap and protect me from earth. But at the same time, it helps you to be more curious. It helps me to understand that your compassion is not something that is topical. You're not just trying to rub something around and say, oh, well, I hope this makes it feel better. You're digging deeper. And that element, that depth, that conversation, that true empathy and compassion, that is what helped to create change, even in my circle. So imagine if you took the opportunity to do that for yourself first, and then for everyone around you. Those moments make a difference. Curiosity and tapping into what makes your children unique. We all have opportunities to be curious. Those curious moments matter. They matter so much. I think we kind of lose sight of what that means, especially when we get outside of childhood. But remember, as a child, there's so many more moments of exploration. There's imagination. We're reading books. We're learning how to do new things, tactile things. So many things are shifting in life, and they can be used for our good. So you think, how can I make things a little smoother for me? How can I take these moments and these chances of thinking outside of the box to make something different happen? It's a challenge. It's an experiment, really. You're trying to see what you can do to make something change, and that's powerful in itself. Those moments of questioning, those moments of why and how and I don't understand, those are learning moments. You do that with yourself on a regular basis, whether you're asking mommy for help or you are just stepping through life and saying, you know what? This is something that's happening right now. I'm going to get curious about it. Let me ask more questions. Let me think about how I can do some research, how I can watch some videos, what I can do to make my understanding go deeper. And we have to do that for ourselves and for children. Encouraging those moments of curiosity is powerful. I'll ask you this. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be curious? Anyone? A week ago? 2 months ago? 10 years ago? Curiosity is something that we should all be packing in our pockets all the time. All the time. You can go and say, this is a concept. It's right here in my hand. I see it. I understand it at one level. But I want to know more. That yearning, that curiosity that is present helps us to get so much more clarity in life. And yes, it is just the thing, but it's shaping the way we think. And you can apply that to many different situations. Get curious. Say, I want to know more. I want to understand why this is happening. And there's so many tools that we have access to on a regular basis. So seek that knowledge. That's the power of curiosity. Positive and effective outlets for gained wisdom and shift in mindset. Now, I say effective here on purpose because you can get answers from anything and everything. You can get support from anybody. If I asked any of you right now to help me with a situation, You don't know me from anybody. I could tell you my name is Eve, and you'd believe me. I could tell you that I came from Timbuktu, and you'd believe me. Your curiosity, your choice to help, to listen, to seek understanding, that's what would reign over all of the other misconceptions and judgments. You take a moment to say, yes, I want to help. I'm curious. What can I do right now? How can I make a difference in that? And some of those answers will already be inside of you. So when we think about wisdom, everyone has some source of wisdom. You can go talk to your grandparents. You can talk to your mother and say, you know, today I had a really hard conversation with my significant other. Just throwing that out there, that's not real. I had a hard conversation and I did not know what to do with it. How did you and Grandpa face these situations? There's some source of wisdom there. Now, is it the right wisdom? Is it something that's going to sway you? Is it something that is going to kind of baby you because they still see you as this little bitty person? Oh, I want to protect you. You can get wisdom from anyone and anything. However, what you do with that wisdom is the important part. It's the element of taking the meat and leaving the bones. You take what is critical from situations, things that are important to you, things that you know are applicable to your life, and you throw the rest away. Let wisdom be what it is. Everyone in here has a series of information stored inside, things that you have faced or things that you have learned, and they are pieces of wisdom that are valuable to you. Are you using them well? When someone comes to you or when you're faced with a situation, are you tapping into that wisdom and saying, I understand this. I'm going to treat this as a part of the journey, and I'm going to use it to propel me forward. Use sources of wisdom from meaningful places. Don't just take things from wherever and hope that it turns out well. That's not going to be good for you. You have a choice to do that with children. Yes, we want to protect them. Yes, we want them to have amazing outcomes and be absolutely anything that they imagine. Who do they turn to? Are they turning to you? Are you showing up as that person that's prepared to receive that and give them what they're needing in that moment? That's for you to answer. Doubts versus successes. Everyone has doubts. Absolutely everyone. Even if it's just a moment where you are saying, you know, I don't know if I really want to do this. I don't know if I really want that promotion because it comes with so much more paperwork. It comes with so many more political issues. It has so many things that I'm thinking are horribly negative. You can say those things to yourself, but comprehend at a different level, all of those feelings and thoughts are valid. Absolutely. When we are telling ourselves that we're doubtful that maybe we can get the job, maybe that's fair. Maybe you don't have all of the 10,000 things that are listed out as the experience that's required. It's the same thing as maybe you're searching for a new significant other and you're saying, well, I want them to have all these things and I want them to treat me nicely and I want them to be kind and be funny, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can say all of these things, but are all of them really required, or is that something that you've painted in your mind to be picture perfect? If picture perfect is the source of things there, then you may have a problem. You can't expect things to be 100% perfect. You can't. You can't expect that for yourself. You cannot expect that for the children that you work with or the children that you parent. You can't. Perfection's impossible, but we can take value and take note of the things that are present and do what we can to better ourselves at the individual level to help other people. Children are very aware of their world and they are intelligent. Treat them as such. I talk about this so often. Sometimes we tell ourselves that our kids, they don't need to know everything. And that is true. There are some things that should remain in adult world, period, the end. However, that does not mean we have to create some world full of unicorns and rainbows and think that that's where they should be. That's not helpful. Sometimes creating sources of truth is powerful. Remember, the things that we receive are the things that create the world around us. Domino effect. So if we're telling ourselves, oh, well, we don't need to tell little Susie that her goldfish died. We're just going to keep buying her goldfish and goldfish and goldfish and goldfish until she's 20. That's nice, but it's a little cuckoo. So everyone can take a moment to choose to say, I am going to embrace reality. I might have to do a little dampering down to make things work. However, when you understand how important truth is to you, you can understand how important it is to tell a child the same thing. Your choice in addressing it is your business. Your choice in allowing your identity to be intertwined with that is your decision. However, sometimes truths are so powerful that they change lives. So if we're buying little Susie those 10,000 goldfish, does she think that goldfish live forever? Like, what's the key? What are we telling her? You take that moment to understand why you're doing it and value that, because that's what needs to be done. Shared experiences and well-being. Having resources to be well, live well, and be an impactful member of an ever-changing world. Resources. When we think of resources, what do you think of? Throw out some words. Resources. What does that mean? People. Services, community, funding, access. Resources are powerful. They can be the smallest of things. They can be the tiniest door cracked open. However, just that little cracked open door can change everything. Now, I'll give you another example of life. I went through a series of interesting relationships, and they put me in some turmoil. Just keep it short like that. However, when I came out of that, I found myself in a series of some more interesting things happening. Some being like insurance. We can think about insurance. Anybody can think about medical insurance. I did not always have access to insurance. I had to rely on community resources. And even then, getting to that point to knowing that they existed, that was a whole nother story. Resources, the smallest of things. Sometimes we take these things for granted. We're like, oh, well, everybody can get that. Everybody can go to the doctor. Or everyone can get some prescriptions for whatever it is they're facing. You think that's normal. But lack of resources contributes to so many other things. It can create pitfalls. It can create these moments where you think life is just hopeless. Or perhaps you even think that this is just normal. The place and state that you're in, it just is what it is. That may be at a baseline very true, but these resources that we have in life, they help us to do things at a different level. If I was still standing in front of you and I did not have insurance, I'd be a little worried. That would be outside of my normal. It would be outside of my comfort zone, knowing that I have things that I need to do. And you can think about that for yourself. What are normal things in your life that you have right now that you know someone somewhere wish they had? There's countless situations like that. Sometimes having a moment of even being able to talk to a teacher is a resource. Maybe mom and dad at home are too busy fighting, or maybe there's something challenging. Grandma used to take care of you, and now she can't anymore because she's sick. What do you do with that? You tap into the resources that you do have and try to work with them. Everything that's around you is key to your future. What's happening right now is affecting you 10 years from now. That's a promise. So things that you are instilling in children, in yourself, in your families, it is changing everything down the line. So you have to keep yourself in tune with that. Open conversation about diverse experiences as they are connected to other lived experiences. What I face is not what you face. Take example, we're all in this room right now. All of you are listening to me. Are all of you going to walk away with the same thoughts? No. Are all of you going to say, oh, I remember back on slide 4 when she said blah, 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 and then I'm going to do this tomorrow at school? No. We all walk through life so differently. But that is a good thing. That's how we turn around and come back to the table with different experiences, different things to share, different ways to move around life. So while you're in here, you're gaining information, you're thinking about things, maybe some things about yourself that can be shifted a little bit. And in those moments of change, we create something different. We create a new life for ourselves. So if you're giving yourself new information, you're changing the way you think, you're really shifting your mindset, you have an opportunity to change something else. It's not just right now. What you're learning and thinking about right now is not just this moment. It's so many more things. It's opportunity. Our stories and journeys matter. As a child, I grew up in a single-parent home. My mom was there, just this wonderful and strong Black woman that she is. I did not know the other part of myself, although I wanted to. I wanted to know, who's my father? Where did he come from? Do I have other siblings? What's this other piece of me? And over time, I got some information. I also got some rebuttal. Sometimes that's normal. Parents can't be perfect. However, I became more curious. I wanted to know more. I cried a little when answers weren't given to me that I know could be easily given. I understood that maybe, my mom wasn't prepared to give me those answers, and that's fine too. However, as an adult, a growing adult, I took a moment to say, I do want to know more. Let me figure it out. Let me ask more questions, because there's some part of me that I feel is missing. So I got more and more curious. I got to know that I have a living grandmother. I got to meet her. I got to meet my father. Quite the experience, we'll leave that alone. But the more that I understood there was parts of me that were deep, that were so embedded to me, and I didn't even know it, the stronger I felt. See, I grew up with a lot of other Hispanic children. That was the area of town I lived in. It was Hispanic and African American in its own mixed pot. And I gained a lot of things. I learned a lot about different types of music and still stick to it. I love my cumbias. And I learned about so much. And it helped me to understand that the world is so different. Even if I didn't know who I was at that moment, I had an opportunity to try. I had an opportunity to learn how to speak Spanish. I had chances to be more and more of who I am, and it felt good. So when you're walking through life, maybe there are things that you just don't understand. It's fair. However, you make a choice over and over again to try to learn, to grab a little here and there, and you can see over time that it will help you. Over time, it will help you to see things clearer. And we can do that with other people. We have that choice. We have plenty of options to do so. And it's a beautiful thing. Treating children in a person-centered manner. Person-centered, individual, one-on-one, all the same. People learn differently, speak differently, understand differently. So how can we walk up to one person and expect them to understand everything we're saying if they're not the same person that we just talked to? It's all different. When you're having a conversation with a child, a difficult conversation, a happy conversation, whatever it may be, treat them like the one. They are the one in that moment, and they need you to be the one in that moment. Now, what that looks like changes from time to time. However, it's your absolute necessity to be engaged enough to know what is necessary in that moment. That can be hard, but all of you are very aware. You're very knowledgeable about yourself. So when you can go into a conversation with some bias along the side and really be engaged, be mindful, that is what helps. Being one-on-one with somebody can make a difference. It can change everything. It can literally save a life. Sure, you can learn things by textbooks. You can learn things that may seem like they are so high level, but when you try to apply them to life, does it work that way? No, it can't. You have to be able to take things that you learn, take things that you are aware of, and put them into life in such a particular way that you know it is meaningful. Walking around and just throwing out information and saying, here, catch it, not helpful. It might sound nice. It might sound like you know everything in the world. But if you're not doing your due diligence and making sure that people are on a proper receiving end, you may as well be talking to the wall. People need that one-on-one. People need to know that you care in that moment, and sometimes that means shifting even the way you stand. Perhaps you go from this, you're just super rigid, to, I understand. Sometimes just these small things, and it's not to say we're trying to put on a show, but it's almost leveling things out, saying, you know, this is not what you need. You don't need this rigid person telling you what to do right now. You need something that's calm. Let me find out how I can do that. Do you do that with yourself? Probably not. But if you did, and I encourage you to practice doing that, you'd understand how much it means to you, how good it feels. If you woke up late for work one day, and I mean super late for work, maybe an hour or 2 hours late, you might be so upset with yourself that you're like, you know what, I don't even feel like going to work. I'm so embarrassed. I cannot believe that this just happened. What would happen if you treated yourself like you were one-on-one with yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror, and you say, it's okay. I'm going to be gentle with you right now because you deserve it. It was not done on purpose, and you deserve to have a better day. Versus, what were you thinking? Didn't you set your alarm? You know you had an important meeting this morning. Now, what'd you do with that? Two different situations. How you treat yourself makes a difference. Understanding what that value is, what that means to you, you can do that for other people, one-on-one. Positive intelligence for valuable and sustainable changes. There's this element of positive intelligence that many of us can think about, and I quite like it. Imagine, if you can, a picture of yourself as a child, a baby even. Just think about that. Even if you need to close your eyes and imagine that person and her cute fluffiness. Think about her. Who was she? Who was he? Were they happy? Were they excited? Did she love to read stories about dragons? Did he love to go outside and collect rocks? Who was that person? So gentle we become when we think about that little version of ourselves. We understand that there are so many wonderful things that were happening just so quick. But also we know at some level who they are. Now, if we can comprehend who that little version of ourselves is, not was, is, we can bring them along with us. Those things that make life so magical, so wonderful, so full of imagination, we can bring those things with us. It's a part of who we are, whether we think about it or not. It might have been 20 years ago since you went to the library and got a handful of books that you were just thrilled to read. But isn't that person still inside of you? We choose to embrace the things that make us who we are, and that's what becomes another source of power. It becomes another source of opportunity, and it is a grand one at that. You create changes that way, ripple effects, over and over again. What does it mean to have empathy, awareness, and understanding for and or of diversity? Countless things. Countless things. These are only 4. Who are the people around you at base level? Think about that on a regular basis. What is your circle? Is it just a couple of people? Do you have a handful of friends? Do you have a gigantic family? All of these things, they're around you, but they create some element of who you are. How can you navigate differences within yourself and the world around you? It's more comprehension. It's choosing to understand that things happen in a different way, and it happens like that on purpose. Things are not always so pretty. We all have challenges and circumstances that we have to navigate through, but it is key to who we are. It's that bubble of diversity. It's happening. It is living and breathing in front of you on a regular basis. Can you have conversations about uniqueness in every real life situation? Absolutely. One big part of the work that I do is helping people to understand who they are. Because from that, you take this gigantic step forward in understanding, because of who I am, this is who I can become. And that is huge. We teach, we talk, we understand that people are so very different, and yet we have so few conversations about being unique. At any given time, you can help someone to understand that the things that makes them different is the thing that makes them beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You choose to say, I understand that there's this one special thing about you. When you are talking to your friends and they're having a hard day, I realize that you always say something that is so powerful to them, and you remind them who they are. That's shining a light on someone's individuality. It's putting a light on what it is that makes them different, and it creates something amazing. The impact of diversity starts in childhood and lives on forever. Like I was sharing with you about my portions of life in which I didn't know who I was, I can use those things now to help other people. I've created something within myself that's saying, I absolutely did not know anything about what it meant to be all of me. I didn't. And yet, I chose to move forward in meaningful ways. I chose to be curious. I chose to dig deeper and deeper so that I could be proud of me. You can think about something even challenging like going to school, going to college. You say, okay, when I was in high school, I was an A student. Fabulous. You had a 4.0, wonderful. Do you get to college and turn around and be that same 4.0 student with the same knowledge? Do you use the same way of thinking to benefit yourself at higher levels? Yes and no. There's some things that we can use from the past that propel us forward, like I mentioned. However, it takes some change within yourself to make a true difference. You have to choose to grow. You have to understand that the things that you used yesterday don't necessarily work today. And that's okay. We still choose to be aware of the things that are in our lives that have helped us previously, because that's what's useful next. Everything that we do is a part of this row of stepping stones. And every little step matters. It's creating our own experience. It's creating our own understanding of what can be. If you think about that question I first asked you, I asked you to list out those truths about yourself and a misconception. Is it possible that people don't understand something about you because they don't understand something about themselves? Creating a sense of awareness, creating a source of individuality, and accepting uniqueness is so large scale. It may seem like it's just a moment in time, but it makes a world of difference. So if you're interacting with someone else, you're interacting with a child, a friend, someone that you care about, understand that that uniqueness is how you got to be in that circle. It is how you feed off of each other. It's how you get through life. And it's not supposed to be perfect. It won't be. But you can use all of those sources for understanding, for your own awareness, and to create real and positive senses of change. How can you make a change for others, starting with yourself? Self-awareness and getting yourself in check. Present analysis and acceptance of self. Ask yourself, are you okay with the person you are right now? At this very moment, not when the next thing happens, not when the next check comes, not when you get that next degree, right now. If you had to think about every element of who you are in this very second, would you be okay with that? The only way we can create change is to understand what's happening in the moment. That may be a difficult concept to gather and to hold on to, but it's necessary. Every bit of change, if we're trying to help someone else, like I mentioned before, we can try to create that world full of rainbows and unicorns, and that's fine. But if we're not being true to who we are, if we're not comprehending that there is something greater going on beyond that surface level information, we can't create change. It sounds nice, but is it possible? Creating change always starts with you. You are not perfect. You do not have all of the answers. You do not know what to do after every single mistake you make. But that is a part of life. That is a part of your unique experiences, and it is always going to be valuable to you if you respect it in that moment, if you collect it in your mind, and you understand it's a part of your reality. Honoring the truth of your surroundings. Everything that's happening around you is happening for a reason. You can see it. It's necessary for you to collect that information and to know how to use it in whatever way is powerful to you. Not to use it in some negative action. It is some source of information that is present that you can use, that you can value, that you can tap into when you need it most. Understanding the possibility and position of change. Like I mentioned, change starts with you. If you recognize that there's something inside of yourself that needs a little bit of adjustment, that needs a little bit more awareness, it is your responsibility to say, this needs to be done. When so-and-so supervisor said that we should all understand how to do X, Y, and Z, I had no clue what he was talking about. So what do I do with that moment? I make a decision. Maybe I communicate with said supervisor, and then I turn around and I do the work for myself because it is necessary. It's necessary for me, not just the outcome. Evolve yourself through training and coaching. Everyone needs help. Everyone. No matter what you are thinking about in your life, what you are facing, what it is that you are doing in your work, we all need points of evolution. Choosing to make more changes, choosing to tap into who you are, choosing to know that there is something beyond what it is that you're facing right now is key to you. The more you do for yourself, the better you show up in your own life and take care of yourself, the better you can show up for other people. So seek out a plan of action to create, carry out, and sustain. Yes, we can say, oh, I signed up for this class the other day, and it's about 12 weeks long, and I'm committed to that. Okay, that sounds good. How are you going to make that happen? I thought you had to work 12 hours a day. Are you going to create something that is going to help you get it into your life, create what it is that you want, and develop something that you know will be beneficial for other people? Sustainability is the necessary part. We can all create a plan. We can all say, okay, I'm going to get up at 7 a.m. every day. I'm going to make sure I work out. Then I'm going to make sure I go get my coffee. Then I'm going to make sure I get to work at 9. You can say all of these things, but are you creating a scenario in your life that is going to create that outcome? Starting with you, going to other people, loved ones, significant others, children, etc. Starting further beyond that, the bubble just gets bigger and bigger because there's layers to it. But it's necessary to understand that your environment that you live in and create will be able to just tap into everything you do. It's connected. So be mindful of that. That plan of change, that plan of awareness, that plan to create something that you know is necessary for your life, it starts with you, and you have to create a plan to make it stick. A world of mirrors and reflections. Who are you when you see yourself in the mirror? I've mentioned that mirror a few times. Our time is short here, but I do want you to write that down because it's necessary for you. Who are you when you see yourself in the mirror? And you can ask yourself that question every day. Who am I today? How am I feeling? How am I going to talk to myself? How am I going to address life? How can I navigate through what I know is to be a difficult day? Who am I? Which version, which element, which part of myself is required to face the day? And be kind to yourself. How can you honor your truth everywhere you go? By being truthful. Starts with that. Being honest. Being okay with who you are. Knowing that everything that makes you who you are is a part of your greatness. Everything. And you can make life happen by just being yourself and being okay with that. Like I said, you do not have to show up in any situation trying to be someone other than yourself. It's not needed. It's not necessary, and it will not help your situation. Being the greatness in you is how you help other people. Remind yourself of how you overcame challenges. Every one of you has gone through something that was so difficult and you did not comprehend how you were going to get out of it. But do you applaud yourself for that? Do you tell yourself, man, I'm just so proud of myself. I cannot believe that I figured out how to make that happen. Do you remind yourself that 10 years ago version of you would not know how to do what it is you're doing today? Do you do that? Do you tell yourself, I know that this happened, but I know that I am better because of it? You can empower yourself through that. Seek out opportunities to live freely as yourself. If you're in a space where you feel like you cannot be you, maybe you should not be there. People embrace your truth. People embrace the things that make you who you are. So choosing to say, I'm going to look for something a little bit different. I'm not feeling like I can be all of myself in this conversation. So why is that the truth? Seeking out the opportunity that will allow you to be you gives you a source of nourishment. It gives you an opportunity to kind of water that mental garden that lives inside of all of us. We've planted seeds, but are we watering them in the way that's necessary for us? Inner work begets outward opportunities. The things that we do inside for ourselves are the way that we create something else great. It is a way to create an open door. It's a way to kind of put a Band-Aid over something that was so minute in the moment we thought it was gigantic. We do that inside work over and over again, and we create better things. Can you own who you are and use it as a source of strength, compassion, and power? That goes back to the mirror. Can you do that? Are you willing to do that? Can you say, this is who I am. This is the strongest part of who I am, and I am so proud of this person. And I know that she, he, or we can open doors of great opportunity because those things are propelling us forward. Can you do that? And are you okay with that? Make it okay. Ask yourself in the mirror, can you see me now? After everything we've gone through, after everything you faced today, after everything that you've overcome, can you see me now? Ask children those questions too. They have hard days, they have hard moments. Are they able to be free within themselves? Can they express their truths? Can they break down? Can they have all the happiness and good moments in life? And ask themselves, are they being seen? Really, really seen. You comprehend what the word seen means. So put that back into life. Put that back into other people around you. What you understand is how you improve and how co-creation begets better outcomes. The things that you know to be true, the things that you know are difficult in life, no matter what they may be, that is how you create things that are new for you. That's how we help others around us. We know that life is happening. We know challenges are being faced, but what are we doing to help other people to get to new places? Use the wisdom that's inside of yourself. Use the things that you know are true to you. Understand that your identity is a gigantic and powerful part of your life, and put that into action because you need it, you deserve it, the world is waiting for it, and people will always love you for who you are, respect you for what you present, and understand that the person that is standing in front of them is powerful, is smart, and is capable of creating the life that they truly want to have. So this was brought to you and for you to carry forward. I've given you things to think about. You're thinking about things about yourself. Now what are you going to do with it? Thank you.